Recreational vehicles, RVs, have been an iconic part of the American road trip experience for decades, offering freedom and flexibility for travel enthusiasts. However, not every RV was a success. Some models failed in terms of design, reliability, or practicality, leaving a legacy of disappointment among owners. In this chapter, we'll explore 9 of the worst American RVs in history, each with its unique set of issues that made them infamous.
Dear viewer, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Thanks for your support.
Number 9. The 1976 GMC motorhome was an ambitious project that attempted to bring a futuristic design and innovative features to the recreational vehicle RV market. However, despite its forward-thinking appearance, it had several significant flaws that tarnished its reputation. The GMC motorhome was powered by the Oldsmobile 455 V8 engine. Later models had the 403 V8. While these engines were powerful, they were prone to mechanical issues, particularly overheating and failures under heavy loads. Many owners experienced engine breakdowns, especially when traveling uphill or in hot weather. The brake system on the GMC motorhome was also a source of frequent complaints. Given the motorhome's weight and size, the brakes were often inadequate for safely stopping the vehicle, especially when loaded or towing additional weight. This led to dangerous situations and frequent repairs. The motorhome was equipped with a 3-speed automatic transmission that wasn't always up to the task of managing the vehicle's large size. Transmission failures and malfunctions were common, leaving owners frustrated with high repair costs. The GMC motorhome had a high center of gravity due to its tall, boxy shape and large windows, making it prone to poor handling, especially on winding or uneven roads. Drivers often reported difficulty in maneuvering the vehicle, and it could feel unstable at higher speeds. Because of its height and lightweight aluminum and fiberglass construction, the motorhome was highly susceptible to crosswinds. On windy days, it could be difficult to control, and the swaying motion made for an uncomfortable and nerve-wracking driving experience. One of the biggest frustrations for owners was the difficulty in maintaining and repairing the GMC motorhome. Many of the components, including the engine and drivetrain, were difficult to access, which made even routine maintenance a complex and expensive task. Since the motorhome was only produced from 1973 to 1978, finding replacement parts became increasingly difficult over time. The unique design of many components meant that standard RV or automotive parts couldn't be used, further complicating repairs. Like many large vehicles of its time, the GMC motorhome was a gas guzzler. The combination of a big V8 engine and the heavy weight of the motorhome resulted in poor fuel economy, with many owners reporting single-digit miles per gallon (mpg). This was a significant drawback during the fuel crisis of the 1970s. With frequent engine and brake issues, along with hard-to-find parts, the cost of keeping the GMC motorhome in running condition was high. Many owners faced repeated breakdowns, leading to costly repairs that outweighed the enjoyment of using the vehicle. The GMC motorhome's sleek, modern design was a selling point, but it came at the expense of practicality. Its futuristic look didn't compensate for the mechanical flaws and poor driving experience. While it was visually appealing and different from other RVs of the time, the design didn't solve the issues that arose from its engineering shortcomings. Despite its innovative design and unique place in RV history, the 1976 GMC motorhome was plagued by mechanical issues, poor handling, and maintenance challenges. Frequent engine and brake problems, along with high operating costs, overshadowed the sleek exterior. For many owners, the futuristic design wasn't enough to justify the constant headaches of keeping it on the road. Number 8. The Coachmen Leprechaun of the 1980s was a Class C motorhome that, despite being an affordable option for RV enthusiasts, developed a reputation for subpar quality and frequent issues. The Coachmen Leprechaun was often criticized for its use of low-grade materials. From the cabinetry to the wall panels, many of the interior components were flimsy and prone to breaking. The plastic fixtures, wood paneling, and upholstery were known to wear out quickly, giving the interior a cheap, worn-out appearance after only a few years of use. One of the most common complaints from owners was that the Leprechauns suffered from water leaks, particularly around the roof seams and windows. The sealing and caulking on the motorhome were not durable, which allowed water to seep in during rain or when parked outside for extended periods. This often led to water damage, mold, and rotting wood, further degrading the structural integrity. The body of the Leprechaun was susceptible to rust, especially in areas where the protective coating was thin or poorly applied. This issue was particularly prevalent in regions with harsh winters where road salt was used. Rust would eat away at the chassis, undercarriage, and even some exterior panels, leading to costly repairs and safety concerns over time. The Leprechaun was built on various chassis platforms, including Ford and Chevrolet, which offered V8 engines. However, the engines used in the 1980s models were often underpowered for the size and weight of the motorhome. This resulted in poor acceleration, especially when driving uphill or with heavy loads. Additionally, the engines were known to be prone to overheating and mechanical failures, such as blown head gaskets and transmission problems. Another frequent problem with the Coachmen Leprechaun was its electrical system. Owners reported issues with faulty wiring, malfunctioning lights, and unreliable appliances. The onboard systems, including the air conditioning and heating units, were prone to breakdowns, and the battery setup often couldn't sustain long-term use without needing frequent replacements or repairs. Like many RVs of its time, the Leprechaun had a top-heavy design due to its tall structure and added weight from its living space features. This made it difficult to handle on the road, especially in windy conditions or on uneven terrain. The motorhome would sway significantly, leading to a rough and uncomfortable ride for both the driver and passengers. The suspension system in the Coachmen Leprechaun was often inadequate for the vehicle's weight, leading to a bouncy and unstable driving experience. It wasn't uncommon for owners to have to upgrade the suspension to improve the ride quality, but even with upgrades, it didn't handle well compared to other motorhomes of the time. Many owners reported that the Leprechaun aged quickly and required major repairs or replacements after just a few years. The combination of water leaks, electrical problems, and engine issues made the motorhome expensive to maintain, and the cheap materials used in its construction led to premature wear and tear. Because of its reputation for reliability issues, the Coachmen Leprechaun had a very low resale value. Buyers were often hesitant to purchase used models due to the likelihood of inheriting costly problems, which further diminished its long-term appeal. The insulation in the Leprechaun was not sufficient for extreme weather conditions. Many owners reported that the motorhome was difficult to keep warm in winter or cool in summer, leading to uncomfortable living conditions. The HVAC systems often couldn't keep up with temperature demands, and drafts would come in through poorly sealed windows and doors. Despite being a Class C motorhome, which is generally considered more compact, the interior of the Leprechaun was cramped and poorly laid out. Storage space was limited, and the living quarters often felt confined, especially for families or groups traveling together. Number 7. The Fleetwood Bounder of the 1990s was a popular Class A motorhome that gained notoriety for both its affordability and numerous issues related to reliability and construction. While it attracted buyers with its accessible price point and innovative features, it also became infamous for the problems many owners faced over time. The Bounder was available with a variety of engine options, most commonly utilizing gasoline-powered V8 engines from Ford or Chevrolet. These engines were often underpowered for the size and weight of the Bounder, which led to poor performance, especially when towing or traveling uphill. Additionally, many owners reported frequent mechanical issues, such as overheating, blown head gaskets, and transmission failures. Given the large size of the Bounder, its fuel consumption was a major downside. It typically achieved poor miles per gallon, MPG, which was a significant concern for long road trips. Combined with its engine problems, the Bounder became a costly vehicle to operate. Electrical problems were one of the most common complaints about the Fleetwood Bounder. Poor quality wiring often resulted in shorts, flickering lights, and malfunctioning appliances. The electrical systems in the Bounder were known to be unreliable, which could lead to safety hazards or leave owners without essential services like heating, air conditioning, or refrigeration. Many Bounder owners experienced issues with the vehicle's battery and charging system. Batteries would frequently die, and the alternator struggled to keep up with the demands of the motorhome systems. This made it difficult to stay off-grid for extended periods without constant attention to power management. The interior of the 1990s Bounder was often criticized for its cheap construction. Cabinets, counters, and upholstery wore out quickly, giving the motorhome an aged, run-down appearance even after a few years of use. The use of low-grade plywood and particle board for cabinetry, combined with flimsy fixtures, led to frequent repairs and replacements. Like many RVs of its era, the Bounder was plagued by water leaks. The seals around the roof and windows were prone to failing, allowing rainwater to seep in. This often led to water damage in the walls, ceilings, and floors, causing mold and rot. Repairing water damage was both costly and time-consuming for owners. The chassis and undercarriage of the Bounder were susceptible to rust, particularly in regions with high humidity or where road salt was used during winter. Rust could compromise the integrity of the frame and lead to expensive repairs. The Bounder had a notoriously top-heavy design, making it difficult to handle, especially in windy conditions or on uneven terrain. The vehicle's center of gravity made it prone to sway, and it often required aftermarket suspension upgrades to improve stability. For inexperienced drivers, the Bounder could feel unwieldy on the road. Many owners reported that the brakes on the Bounder were inadequate for the vehicle's size and weight. Brake fade, particularly on long downhill stretches, was a common problem. Upgrading the brake system was often necessary for safety, but this was an added expense. Despite its large exterior dimensions, the Bounder's interior was often criticized for feeling cramped. The layout was not always well designed, leading to inefficient use of space. Additionally, the dated design of the interior, with its basic and unattractive finishes, made the motorhome less appealing for long-term living. The Bounder's insulation was another weak point. It struggled to maintain comfortable temperatures in extreme weather, particularly in very hot or cold conditions. The air conditioning and heating systems had to work hard to compensate, often overtaxing the electrical system and leading to breakdowns. Due to the electrical wiring issues and the potential for engine overheating, the Bounder was prone to fire hazards. Faulty appliances or electrical shorts could easily spark a fire, and several owners reported near misses or actual fire incidents in their vehicles. This posed a serious safety risk for travelers, especially those living in the motorhome full-time. The 1990s Fleetwood Bounder was a well-known Class A motorhome that gained a following due to its affordability and wide availability. However, it suffered from a range of serious issues, including unreliable engines, electrical malfunctions, cheap construction materials, and frequent water leaks. The motorhome was difficult to handle on the road, expensive to maintain, and depreciated rapidly. While it had its fans, particularly for its low price point, the Bounder's reputation for poor reliability and build quality left many owners frustrated and disappointed. Number 6. The Tioga Aero from the 1980s was a popular Class C motorhome, but it earned a poor reputation for several key reasons. The Tioga Aero had a compact design that resulted in a cramped living space. The small dimensions made it difficult for more than 2 people to live comfortably inside, and the lack of headroom added to the feeling of being confined. Storage space was also limited, leaving little room for essentials on long trips. The interior layout wasn't optimized for space efficiency, with narrow hallways, poorly placed furniture, and a lack of functional storage solutions. This led to a cluttered and uncomfortable living experience, especially on longer journeys. The Tioga Aero typically came with small gasoline-powered engines that struggled to move the motorhome's weight, especially when fully loaded with gear and passengers. It had trouble maintaining speed on highways, climbing hills, or towing, and the engine's lack of power made driving a slow, tedious experience. Despite its smaller size, the Tioga Aero was not particularly fuel-efficient. The combination of its weight and underpowered engine resulted in poor miles per gallon, making long trips expensive in terms of fuel costs. The Tioga Aero was often criticized for its low-quality construction. The use of cheap, lightweight materials made the motorhome prone to wear and tear, with cabinets, countertops, and fixtures breaking down or falling apart over time. The interior quickly showed signs of aging, even with regular maintenance. Many units suffered from weak framing and poorly constructed floors and walls, leading to sagging or other structural problems. These issues made the RV feel unstable and unsafe, especially after a few years of use. Water leaks were a common complaint among Tioga Aero owners. The seals around the roof and windows were prone to failure, allowing water to seep in during rainstorms. Over time, these leaks caused significant water damage, leading to rot, mold, and ruined interiors. Repairing these leaks was not always easy, as the construction methods made it hard to properly reseal the roof or windows. This meant that many owners had to deal with repeated water damage, even after repairs. Beyond the weak engine, the Tioga Aero was known for various mechanical issues that made it unreliable for long-distance travel. Problems with the transmission, brakes, and suspension were frequently reported, requiring constant attention and repairs. Many owners found that their Tioga Aeros would break down unexpectedly during trips, leading to costly and inconvenient repairs on the road. This unreliability made it a poor choice for those who wanted to travel extensively or take long vacations. The 1980s Tioga Aero may have been an affordable and accessible Class C motorhome, but it was plagued by problems that made it a frustrating choice for many owners. Its cramped interior, underpowered engine, poor build quality, and susceptibility to leaks and structural issues made it unreliable for long trips. Ultimately, these flaws overshadowed any appeal it might have had as a budget-friendly option for RV enthusiasts. Number 5. The Winnebago Lasharo, 1983 to 1992, was an attempt to offer a smaller, more fuel-efficient alternative to the traditional, larger American RVs. Despite its innovative idea, the Lasharo faced significant criticism for several reasons, including poor engine performance, mechanical issues, and limited interior space. The Lasharo was equipped with a Renault 2.1-liter diesel or 2.2-liter gasoline engine, both of which were grossly underpowered for the weight of the vehicle. The engine struggled to deliver adequate performance, particularly when climbing hills or maintaining highway speeds. This made the Lasharo frustrating to drive, especially on long trips or when carrying passengers and gear. The Renault engine was notorious for overheating, especially in hot weather or when the vehicle was pushed hard. This was due to the engine's small size and lack of adequate cooling for the motorhome's weight. Overheating often led to frequent breakdowns and costly repairs. Owners often reported various engine-related mechanical issues, including frequent head gasket failures, oil leaks, and transmission problems. Parts were hard to find due to the vehicle's reliance on Renault components, making repairs more difficult and expensive. The Lasharo was built with lightweight, inexpensive materials, which led to rapid wear and tear. The interior trim, cabinetry, and fixtures often felt flimsy and broke down easily with regular use. This led to a noticeable decline in comfort and aesthetics after only a few years. The body construction was also criticized for being weak and prone to issues like cracking and warping. These structural problems could affect the vehicle's integrity and make it less reliable and durable over time. The Lasharo was prone to rust, especially in its undercarriage and exterior body panels. Poor quality steel and a lack of proper rust proofing left many units showing signs of rust early in their lifespan, further diminishing their longevity. The Lasharo was marketed as a compact RV, which appealed to some buyers, but its small size came with major compromises. The interior space was cramped, with limited room for sleeping, cooking, and living. This made it uncomfortable for more than 2 people and unsuitable for longer trips where space and comfort are essential. The interior layout was not well designed for functionality. The kitchen and bathroom areas were small and difficult to use, while the storage space was minimal, making it hard to pack enough supplies for extended trips. The Lasharo's small size and underpowered engine made it hard to drive, especially when fully loaded. The suspension was also not well suited for carrying the weight of a motorhome, leading to a rough, uncomfortable ride. Beyond the engine, the Lasharo was known for other mechanical failures, including issues with the electrical system, transmission, and brakes. These problems added to the frustration of owning the vehicle, as repairs were frequent and often costly. Since the Lasharo used Renault parts, many American mechanics were unfamiliar with the engine and components, leading to long waits for parts and expensive repair bills. The availability of replacement parts also became a significant issue as the vehicle aged. Due to the Lasciaro's many mechanical problems and poor reputation, its resale value plummeted quickly. Owners found it difficult to sell the vehicle, even at a steep discount. The lack of demand for used Lasciaros further cemented its status as a failed model in the RV market. The Winnebago Lasciaro was a well-intentioned but ultimately flawed attempt at offering a compact, fuel-efficient motorhome. Its weak Renault engine, frequent mechanical breakdowns, poor build quality, and cramped interior made it a disappointment for many RV enthusiasts. Despite its innovative concept, the Lasciaro was plagued by reliability issues, making it a frustrating and costly vehicle to own and maintain. It failed to live up to the standards of the larger and more reliable American RVs of the time, leading to its negative reputation and eventual discontinuation. The 1978 Pace Aero was a Class A motorhome produced by Fleetwood, designed to offer a luxury RV experience. Despite being one of the more well-known names in the RV industry, the 1978 Pace Aero had numerous drawbacks that contributed to its poor reputation. The Pace Aero often came equipped with relatively weak engines for its size, such as the Chrysler 440 or Ford 460 V8 engines. While these engines were capable in certain vehicles, they struggled to handle the heavy weight of the motorhome, especially when fully loaded with passengers, fuel, and gear. This made it difficult to drive, particularly in hilly or mountainous areas where more power was needed. Owners reported that the Pace Aero was sluggish, with poor acceleration. It was difficult to merge onto highways or pass other vehicles safely, which made long-distance travel a more stressful experience. Like many motorhomes from the 1970s, the Pace Aero was notorious for its terrible fuel efficiency. The heavy body and underpowered engine meant that the vehicle guzzled gas at an alarming rate, making it expensive to operate, particularly during the energy crisis of the 1970s when fuel prices were high. The poor fuel efficiency also meant that the Pace Aero had a limited driving range, requiring frequent stops for refueling. This reduced the convenience of long road trips and added to the overall cost of ownership. The Pace Aero was known for frequent engine failures, with problems ranging from overheating to total engine breakdowns. The combination of weak engines and the heavy weight of the motorhome put excessive strain on the engine components, leading to reliability issues. Many owners reported problems with the transmission, particularly in older models like the 1978 version. The transmission often struggled to handle the load of the motorhome, leading to failures that required expensive repairs. The brakes on the 1978 Pace Aero were another frequent source of complaints. The brakes were not adequately designed to handle the weight of the motorhome, leading to poor stopping power and, in some cases, brake failures. This made driving the Pace Aero particularly hazardous in hilly or mountainous terrain. The construction of the 1978 Pace Aero left much to be desired. Fleetwood used lightweight materials to reduce the weight of the motorhome, but this often resulted in flimsy construction. Interior cabinets, walls, and trim were prone to breaking or falling apart after minimal use. One of the most common complaints about the Pace Aero was its susceptibility to leaks. Poor sealing and subpar materials meant that water could easily seep into the motorhome, especially around the windows, roof, and seams. Water damage could quickly lead to mold, rot, and other structural problems, making the motorhome unsafe and uncomfortable to live in. The chassis and exterior components were prone to rust, especially in regions with harsh weather conditions. Rust weakened the structural integrity of the motorhome and led to expensive repairs. Due to its large size and weak engine, the 1978 Pace Aero was difficult to handle, especially in windy conditions or on uneven roads. The vehicle's weight distribution wasn't ideal, leading to poor stability and a bumpy ride. This made long trips uncomfortable and increased the driver's fatigue. Owners frequently complained about the excessive body sway and roll when driving. The suspension system was not well suited for the heavy weight of the motorhome, making it difficult to control, especially at higher speeds or when making turns. By 1978, the Pace Aero's design and interior layout were already starting to feel outdated. It lacked many of the conveniences and modern amenities that RV buyers would come to expect in the following decades. The interior was often cramped and inefficiently laid out, with small bathrooms, limited storage space, and uncomfortable sleeping arrangements. The exterior design of the 1978 Pace Aero was boxy and unattractive compared to later RV models that offered sleeker, more modern designs. This made the vehicle look outdated even during its production years. The 1978 Pace Aero suffered from a combination of weak engines, poor fuel efficiency, reliability issues, and subpar build quality. Its underpowered engine struggled to handle the motorhome's weight, leading to frequent mechanical failures and poor performance. Additionally, the build quality was lacking, with issues like leaks, rust, and flimsy materials. The high cost of ownership due to constant repairs and poor fuel economy further damaged its reputation. As a result, the 1978 Pace Aero became known as one of the less desirable motorhomes of its time, despite Fleetwood's attempt to position it as a luxury RV. Number 3, the Holiday Rambler. Aluma-Lite was introduced in the 1980s as part of Holiday Rambler's lineup of travel trailers and motorhomes, marketed for its aluminum construction that was intended to make it lighter and more durable than competitors. Despite these claims, the Aluma-Lite had several significant issues that made it a less than ideal option for many RV owners during its production years. The Aluma-Lite name suggested that this RV would be lighter than other similar-sized vehicles, thanks to its aluminum frame construction. However, many owners found that the Aluma-Lite was not significantly lighter than other models in its class. Although the aluminum construction helped to prevent rust, it didn't reduce weight enough to make a notable difference in towing ease or fuel efficiency. For both the travel trailers and motorhome versions of the Aluma-Lite, the overall weight was still considerable. Owners often reported that towing it with standard vehicles was difficult, and they needed heavier-duty trucks to handle the weight, negating the lightweight appeal. The Aluma-Lite suffered from weak suspension, which was especially problematic given its weight. The suspension system often couldn't handle the load when the RV was fully packed with gear, passengers, and supplies. This led to sagging, poor ride quality, and frequent mechanical issues with the suspension components. The poor suspension contributed to the Aluma-Lite's handling problems, particularly in the motorhome versions. Drivers frequently complained that the vehicle swayed excessively, making it difficult to control in windy conditions or on uneven roads. This made driving long distances more exhausting and uncomfortable for many owners. The Aluma-Lite had significant body roll when turning, especially at higher speeds. This not only impacted driving comfort, but also raised concerns about safety, as the vehicle felt unstable during cornering and in sharp turns. The motorhome versions of the Aluma-Lite were plagued by mechanical problems, including frequent engine failures and transmission breakdowns. Many units use standard V8 engines from Chrysler, Ford, or Chevrolet, but these were often underpowered for the size and weight of the motorhome. This resulted in frequent overheating, poor acceleration, and engine wear. The constant mechanical issues made the Aluma-Lite expensive to maintain. Engine repairs, transmission overhauls, and suspension fixes were common and costly. Owners often faced long periods of downtime while waiting for repairs, making the vehicle unreliable for extended trips. Despite its aluminum frame, the Aluma-Lite's build quality was subpar, particularly in terms of interior construction. Many owners reported that the cabinets, walls, and furniture were made from cheap materials that wore out or broke down quickly. Drawers would come loose, trim pieces would fall off, and the interior finish would peel or chip after limited use. One of the most significant problems with the Aluma-Lite was its tendency to develop leaks. Poor sealing around the windows, doors, and roof led to water seeping into the interior during rainstorms or when parked in humid environments. Water damage quickly became a common issue, causing mold, rot, and rust to develop in key structural areas. Although the aluminum frame was intended to prevent rust, the Aluma-Lite's steel components were prone to rusting, especially in regions with harsh winters or coastal environments. The undercarriage, suspension parts, and other metal components often corroded, leading to costly repairs. Despite its large exterior size, the interior of the Aluma-Lite was often described as cramped and inefficiently designed. The floor plan didn't make the best use of space, with small bathrooms, awkwardly placed furniture, and limited storage areas. This made the RV less comfortable for extended stays or family trips. The beds in the Aluma-Lite, particularly in the travel trailer models, were often reported to be uncomfortable. Thin mattresses and poorly designed sleeping spaces led to complaints about discomfort during overnight stays, which was a significant drawback for RV users on long trips. The Holiday Rambler Aluma-Lite of the 1980s failed to live up to its name and reputation. While it was marketed as a lightweight, durable RV, it suffered from significant mechanical problems, poor handling, and subpar build quality. Its weak suspension and frequent engine and transmission issues made it unreliable for long trips, and its cramped interior and outdated design didn't appeal to modern buyers. Leaks, rust, and frequent breakdowns further tarnished its reputation, leading to high maintenance costs and dissatisfaction among many owners. Despite its aluminum construction, the Aluma-Lite was not able to compete effectively in the RV market during its time. Number 2. The Coachmen Mirada of the 1990s was a Class A motorhome that aimed to provide an affordable entry point into the RV lifestyle. However, it faced several critical issues that made it one of the less desirable models during its time. Below is a detailed breakdown of the problems that plagued the Mirada, contributing to its negative reputation. Despite being a Class A motorhome, which is typically associated with spacious interiors, the Mirada's interior layout felt cramped and poorly designed. Many owners noted that the living space was not optimized, with narrow walkways and awkwardly placed furniture that made moving around inside difficult, especially when the motorhome was fully occupied. The bathroom and kitchen areas were notably small, making them less functional compared to other motorhomes in the same category. Cooking or spending extended periods inside the RV could feel claustrophobic, particularly for families or groups traveling together. The interior fittings, such as the cabinetry, countertops, and seating, were often made from cheaper materials that didn't hold up well over time. This led to a rapid deterioration in the interior's appearance and functionality, with cabinets becoming loose, laminate surfaces peeling, and upholstery wearing out quickly. One of the most common complaints about the Coachmen Mirada was its overall build quality. Many owners found that the construction was flimsy, with panels, walls, and fittings that felt cheaply made and prone to damage. This led to frequent repairs and replacements, even after only a few years of use. One of the major build quality issues was the frequent leaks that developed over time. Poor sealing around windows, doors, and roof seams caused water intrusion during rainstorms, which could lead to significant water damage. These leaks often resulted in mold growth and rot, damaging the interior and structure of the vehicle. The chassis and frame of the Mirada were sometimes reported to be weak, leading to issues with sagging or flexing, particularly in older units. This could cause problems with the alignment of doors and windows, and even lead to more severe structural problems over time. The Coachmen Mirada was often equipped with engines that were underpowered for the size and weight of the motorhome. This resulted in poor acceleration, especially when the RV was fully loaded with passengers and gear. Owners frequently complained that the engine struggled to maintain highway speeds or climb inclines, making long-distance travel less enjoyable. Mechanical reliability was a significant issue with the Mirada. Owners often reported problems with the engine, transmission, and other critical systems. These issues could arise unexpectedly, leaving owners stranded or requiring costly repairs. Common complaints included overheating, engine stalling, and transmission failures. The constant need for repairs and maintenance made owning a Mirada an expensive proposition. Many owners found that they were spending more time and money fixing mechanical problems than enjoying their RV on the road. In some cases, repairs were complicated by the difficulty of finding replacement parts for the specific models. Electrical problems were another common source of frustration for Mirada owners. Faulty wiring, particularly in older models, could lead to issues with the RV's lights, appliances, and air conditioning. Electrical shorts, blown fuses, and malfunctioning components were frequent occurrences. Some owners experienced issues with the RV's battery system, including problems with charging and maintaining a consistent power supply. This could lead to the vehicle losing power for essential systems while parked, making it uncomfortable and inconvenient for longer stays without external hookups. The generator, which powered many of the onboard systems when the RV wasn't plugged into shore power, was another common problem area. Many owners reported frequent failures, making it difficult to rely on the motorhome for off-grid camping or extended stays in remote areas. The Coachman Mirada of the 1990s was plagued by a combination of cramped interiors, poor build quality, frequent mechanical issues, and subpar driving performance. Its underpowered engine, coupled with a weak suspension system, made it difficult to drive and unreliable for long-distance travel. Interior leaks, electrical issues, and frequent breakdowns further contributed to its bad reputation. Additionally, its outdated design and lack of modern amenities made it less appealing compared to other motorhomes of the time. Due to these shortcomings, the Mirada became known for being more of a hassle to own than a comfortable or enjoyable RV experience. Number 1. The Winnebago Brave of the 1970s, while initially popular due to its affordability and practicality, became known for various issues that tarnished its reputation over time. The Winnebago Brave was built with simplicity in mind, offering minimal amenities compared to other RVs on the market. While this made it an affordable option for buyers, it also meant that the Brave lacked the features and comforts that more modern motorhomes offered. There were no luxurious interior elements, and the Brave was missing essential amenities such as full-size refrigerators, spacious kitchens, or advanced entertainment systems, which became increasingly common in later models. The interior design of the Brave was basic and quickly became outdated by the standards of the late 1970s. It featured simple, boxy furniture, drab color schemes, and a layout that didn't optimize space well. The overall appearance was functional, but lacked the appeal that many buyers were starting to seek in recreational vehicles. The Brave was often equipped with small, underpowered engines that struggled to move the vehicle, especially when loaded with passengers and cargo. This led to poor acceleration, making it difficult to maintain highway speeds or handle inclines efficiently. Many owners reported that the Brave felt sluggish on the road, which made long-distance driving a challenge. Engine reliability was a recurring problem for the Brave. The motorhomes were prone to frequent breakdowns and required regular maintenance to stay operational. Common issues included overheating, stalling, and general wear and tear on the engine components, especially during extended road trips. Due to the frequent engine problems, owners often faced high maintenance costs. Repeated repairs for engine-related issues became a financial burden, especially when compounded with other mechanical problems. Parts for these older engines also became harder to find over time, further complicating repairs. One of the most significant issues that plagued the Winnebago Brave was its tendency to develop leaks over time. Water intrusion was a frequent problem, especially around the roof, windows, and seams. Poor sealing and low-quality materials contributed to these leaks, which often went unnoticed until significant water damage had occurred. The Brave's flat roof design made it particularly susceptible to water pooling and eventual leaks. Without proper drainage, water could seep into the roof seams, leading to rot, mold, and mildew in the ceiling and walls. Many owners had to frequently reseal or repair the roof to prevent further damage. Leaks caused significant damage to the interior of the Brave, including ruined upholstery, flooring, and cabinetry. Water damage often resulted in unpleasant odors, and mold or mildew growth could make the RV unhealthy and uncomfortable for occupants. The Winnebago Brave was notorious for its poor insulation, making it uncomfortable in both hot and cold weather. In the summer, the RV would become extremely hot, as the thin walls and windows provided little protection from the sun's heat. Conversely, in the winter, it was difficult to keep the interior warm, even with the heater running, as cold air would seep in through poorly insulated walls and windows. The poor insulation also led to problems with condensation, particularly in humid or rainy climates. Moisture would accumulate on the walls and windows, contributing to the growth of mold and mildew, as well as damaging the interior. Along with thermal insulation, the Brave's sound insulation was also lacking. Road noise and engine sounds were particularly intrusive inside the RV, making it difficult to enjoy quiet or relaxing trips. The combination of engine noise and rattling from the vehicle's interior components added to the discomfort. Due to its boxy design and high center of gravity, the Winnebago Brave was prone to sway and body roll, especially in windy conditions or when cornering. This made the RV feel unstable, particularly for inexperienced drivers. Many owners reported that the Brave was difficult to control on highways, where crosswinds could push the vehicle, leading to a nerve-wracking driving experience. The Brave's steering was often described as loose and unresponsive, making it difficult to handle on narrow or winding roads. The heavy front end and overall weight of the vehicle further contributed to steering issues, leading to a lack of confidence in maneuvering the RV. The Winnebago Brave of the 1970s was a no-frills basic motorhome that ultimately fell short in several key areas. While it provided an affordable entry point into RV ownership, its minimal amenities, frequent engine problems, and poor insulation made it a less than ideal choice for long-term or comfortable travel. Leaks, electrical failures, and structural weaknesses further compounded the issues, making ownership an ongoing struggle for many.